Honey, it's here. I'm nervous. You're nervous. We're all nervous. This is a collective nervousness that we're experiencing on the internet. Volume 5 of Berserk Deluxe Edition. We're continuing on the Eclipse. The deluxe volume, you probably watched the video. It stopped right before everything bad happened. That's what everybody says. They said, you don't know yet, but you'll know when you know, and it's going to happen now. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm excited to go. Let's see what it says. Right on the top, we've got a little introductory paragraph. Hopefully this is like a little buffer before stuff really starts to happen. It says, the invocation of doom. Griffith, the mutilated leader of the band of the Hawk mercenaries, is a frail, broken shell of his former glory. In a desperate moment, he willingly offers up his loyal command as a sacrifice to the demon lords of the God Hand in exchange for rebirth into beauty and terrible power. But the Hawk's berserker champion, Guts, our guy, will take on perdition itself to save Casca, his fellow Hawk and lover, from the profane violations that only hell can offer. Oh no. All right, let's open up. Let's do it. Ooh, it's fresh and it's beautiful. Smells like pain. You know? It smells a little bit like pain. Smells life-changing. Smells like I'm gonna be a different human after this. Oh, baby. Oh, it smells so good. I'll clean that up after, don't worry. It's heavy, and I don't know if it's just heavy because of the thematic elements in it, but it's definitely heavy. As usual, let's open up the first page. We left at a pretty massive crescendo, so I'm assuming that the first page is gonna feel rough. Doobie-doobie-doo. Look at that. Oh, we know who that is. So the contents in the first part: Storm of Death 1, Storm of Death 2, God of the Abyss, Lifeblood, Quickening, Birth, Afterglow of the Right Eye. That makes sense, because when we're first introduced to Guts, he doesn't have an eye. This makes sense. Escape, Awakening to a Nightmare, The Sprint, and Vow of Retaliation. And the first thing that we're opening to, it's a recollection, it's a recalling back to that young boy that was introduced in Volume 4. That seems like where we're beginning with that, and let's do our little opening. Okay, it's not that bad yet. It's not that bad. So I'm going to sit and read. We're going to have some reaction cameras. We're going to have a full, long display because people seem to like that, so we're going to do that. This is going to be a long and convoluted and hopefully emotional journey for all of us. So I'm going to start reading. And let's get into it, baby. But before we get into the full emotional landscape of today's video, I want to take a moment to thank our very pertinent sponsor, which is Headspace. Headspace is your everyday mental health companion. It's there to make you sleep better, make you feel better, and stress less. It's a very stressful time in the world. We're all feeling something, and it's nice to know that you have a phone app that you can just open up instead of mindlessly scrolling and feeling like you're wasting your time. You can utilize your downtime with Headspace and feel like you're doing something that's beneficial for you. I mean, come on now, we're on our phones all the time. Why not use something that's going to actually soothe you? I work for myself, so I do feel like there's a little bit of stress to continually put things out and make sure that I'm on top of my game. I have a whole calendar in my head that I feel like I need to attend to, and sometimes it just doesn't feel like I'm executing everything correctly. So Headspace has been really nice to just reorienting all of my tasks and making me feel like I have a moment to breathe. I am in a particular moment of stress in my life right now, so it's been a really nice companion to just sit with my thoughts and breathe. And just 5 minutes of Headspace a day can help to reduce stress. Come on. And 3 days of Headspace has been proven to increase focus, which is also something that I really find that I need. What I found really nice about Headspace is that I've been able to work with Ebb, their little companion, and talk to them. It sounds very silly. I'm an incredibly communicative person, but sometimes there's parts of my life that I don't particularly want to talk about with other people.
That sounds like such a kind way to treat yourself. It's one thing to check something off a list, but it's another to pause and really let yourself feel good about it. How does it feel when you do give yourself that congratulations?
Really good. I've also been really enjoying their little incentives like walking at home.
Nice soft focus with the eyes. Just take a big deep breath, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and as you breathe out through the mouth, just beginning to walk.
Just these little reminders that you can be protective of your space throughout the day. So if you would like to learn how to meditate, or you would just like to learn how to press pause, you can try Headspace entirely for free for 60 days by clicking the link in my bio or scanning the QR code on the screen. This is 2 full months of free access compared to the trial 2-week on their site. So it's definitely worth checking. Scan the QR code, click the link in my bio. Let's do a little breathing together. Thank you so much again to Headspace for sponsoring today's video. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Ah! Breathe. Day one of doing the little readaroo. We've got the reaction cam. Oh, I'm nervous. It's a beautiful sunny day. Okay, my little one window. It's a beautiful sunny day. And we're gonna experience this, because what better way than to experience what I imagine is gonna be epic heartbreak than on a beautiful 86-degree day. Let's get into this. I'm going to be having my phone nearby to take pictures, document everything that is going to be cleared with YouTube censorship. We're going to take pictures of things that I can take pictures of. We're going to document it, and you're going to get some live reactions when I think things are getting a little bubbly. I don't know what that sound effect was, but surely it fits in somewhere along this narrative. That's how far we are in, guys, okay? That's how far we are in. We're gonna have a live reaction cam interspersed throughout this, but I'm basically gonna be talking about where we are so far. I do have some notes, right? We read all the way until Vow of Retaliation, so we're gonna be talking about everything leading up to that. And of course, we're going to be starting with the Storm of Death. So this opens pretty much immediately where we left off, with that young boy that was in the end of volume 4. And there's that soft little band-aid before we basically open up the door and we're shown what is happening with the rest of the Band of the Hawk. Casca is already in pretty deep trouble. It seems pretty immediately apparent that she is not just a part of the Band of the Hawk. She's somebody that they're actively, these demons are actively trying to seek. So Pippin steps in, the man that he is. We know how much I love him. He steps in to try to save the day, tells Judo and Casca to run, get out of here, run. And Judo, also being an amazing, iconic character, steps in and saves the day. And don't even get me started, okay? Don't even get me started. If you've been following this series, you know that I love Judo, okay? And I saw a couple of comments about Judo, people saying, oh, it's a shame that that's one of your favorite characters. I get it now. I get it, okay? I get it. I know what happens. This is going to be all spoilers, so you know I'm going to get into it. Judo dies. I gasped audibly. Okay, I'm very upset. In the last video that I made, I talked about how much I like Judo. Judo is an awesome character. I think one of the best. A character that is you're kind of undermining how important Judo is. Judo's arm got ripped off, partially ripped off. And in saving Casca, Judo unfortunately passes. And Judo, I think, was in love with Casca, right? Wow, this is pretty ruthless. Okay, my prediction is that all of the Band of the Hawk is going to be killed. Right? Pippin, what happened to Pippin? Pippin is trying to hold back whatever's happening. Damn, really sad. I'm going to show you the imagery. Oh, come on. Not right. In such a valiant way, though. What a valiant soldier. I guess that I'm kind of already getting into Storm of Death 2. This is where Judo is annihilated. It's also during Storm of Death 2 that you see some of the wildest character drawings. Holy shit. Miura was on his stride with just making these wild little monsters. I mean, I feel like his creativity was at full, like, reaching lengths. Some of these were just so wild, but it fit in so well with just how decrepit and lost and wide-reaching the depths of this abyss would become. All of these drawings when Judo and Casca are trying to run away, it's like this turbulence of monsters just on top of them. And just to see in all these drawings, sometimes you look to the side and there's like a hidden monster with, 3 mouths or 10 eyeballs, and it doesn't feel ludicrous. It feels like it just fits into this very haunting atmosphere of unpredictability. And I just think that that's a really nice punctuation by Miura to highlight how incredible his drawing is. And everybody always says, and I've highlighted this so many times before, that his drawings advance as the series goes on, and it's so good right now. It's so good. And a lot of this, there's barely any dialogue in a lot of these sections. A lot of it is just him drawing and showing you the darkness and showing you the sadness that is building up to happen through these drawings, and they're so good. Just finished Storm of Death 2, and the imagery, I can't even show you what's on the page right now, but I will say, poor is a really calm way of describing what's happening right now. I know that something's going to happen. Casca also has the brand on her chest now, and that makes me feel like she is going to be in the worst possible place right now. I think Guts is able to take that. I don't think Casca is going to be able to take that. I'm also eating popcorn right now, which, I'm just here to be as entertained as possible, but I don't think that this falls under the category of entertainment, okay? This is hurting me a little bit. So then we get into Gods of the Abyss, and this is kind of like an odd parallel where you're introduced to Guts for the first time during this volume. We've been following Casca trying to escape with judo, but now you're introduced to Guts and how much he's trying to fight off everything that is just attacking him from every single angle. And while this is happening, you're simultaneously getting a story of Griffith descending down into the abyss, and you can see there's this amazing visual of him kind of becoming human again after all of these injuries that he has, and you can just see the strain of all the people that he's dragging down behind him, and it's just really emphasizing the abyss, the darkness that he's willing to go down to achieve his dream. There's a lot of highlights of dream being brought up throughout all of this, and that brings us into Lifeblood. If you want to talk about a dream, you're introduced to what is going to be happening to Gaston. He's basically a vessel to show what is happening to all of the outlying characters in the Band of the Hawk, excluding Judo and Pippin. He's basically showing, I think, what happens to all of them. And he's entering into this kind of fugue state, this dream. Everything has to be a dream. And it's welcoming him. It's beckoning him into this death. So not only is he abandoning his dream of success with the Band of the Hawk, he's been pretty outwardly passionate about it throughout the series, but he's abandoning his dream of life. Truly, he's going on to die. And what a violent death he has. Holy Oh. I had no relationship to the character of Gaston. I think I can show this, maybe? That's crazy! Oh my god! This is insane imagery to me. That is wild imagery to me. And then to just pivot to this is just unbelievable. Wow. We're holding nothing back. This is kind of remarkable, honestly. And you know what? After that, this feels like a perfect time to do a little check-in with Headspace. You know what I'm saying? If there was ever a time, now is the time. Let's see what we got here. So everybody's just being massacred, essentially, is what's happening. Guts is trying to piece together what is going on, what can combat this. This is not fair. Remember in the last video I talked about how courageous Pippin was? How much I liked Pippin? Filthy choices were made. Come on! No! So everybody's just gonna die. Everybody's just gonna die. That's what's gonna happen. Everybody's just gonna die. So that happens. One of my favorite characters, just smoldering and dead. But that happens. And then we get into the quickening, which I think of the sickening. Ooh-ah-ah-ah-ah. Down with the sickening. The sickness, baby. Ooh-ah-ah-ah. Ah-ah-ah. That's where we're at. The visuals in this, to me, this feels like a very visually stimulating chapter, and that's what I touched on a little bit before, just how augmented the visuals are throughout this. It feels like these demons are quite literally morphing into the characters. You can see them collecting the souls, these sacrifices that have been made to make these demons really evolve into their second radiant nature, and it's just such a great configuration that Miura is able to construct on these pages. So good. Okay, two things. I'm eating food right now while reading this. Not a wise choice. Don't suggest it. Not for the faint of heart. And we're definitely getting into something nasty, so we're going to have a live reaction cam, okay? I'm going to try to hold this in the most organic way possible, but I'm just going to give you a little preface to what I'm getting into right now. It has to do with Casca, okay? This is the page before. This is the precursor to what I imagine is going to be some heinous stuff, so... Oh no, I don't like that. Oh boy. So I'll describe it. Amazing visuals, awesome artwork. Right now, Casca is basically suspended and at the mercy of all of the like main demons, the main 5 demons, and there is a sword that is or a pointed device that is below her. Oh god. And Guts is trying to save her. Oh wait. Oh. Whoa. This is where Guts loses his hand. Okay. Whoa. Okay, so I can show this. That's awesome artwork. The artwork accompanying this is a really good visual. All right, the quickening has ended. Oh boy. The birth, the new demon king. We're on to birth. What's going on with my girl? So this is the birthing of Griffith as we see him becoming. I call him like a cursed egg. He looks a little bit like a cursed egg, like a cursed bird, a cursed hawk. What? Oh no. Let's not do that. He doesn't get the righteousness of being part of the Band of Hawk anymore. But I think he looks like a cursed egg. So he has evolved. Oh my god, the visuals of this are unbelievable. Whoa. Guts' hand is still suspended in the monster. So I guess it hasn't fully been taken off yet, but it's about to be taken off. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Casca is suspended. And it looks like Griffith is fully... He's taking her. Let's just say that much. That's what's happening right now. And forcing Guts to watch. What an evil person. Wow. So Guts has not officially lost his hand yet. He cuts off his own hand in order to try to save Casca. That's unbelievable. Wow. What a way. Oh my god, this is horrible. And in the afterglow of the right eye, escape. This is where the Skull Knight. I had to look up the name of this character because I couldn't remember. I know that this character has been in the series before, but I couldn't remember if there was a name attached to it, because right now this is the introduction. This is the Skull Knight is the character who comes in and ultimately saves Guts and Casca. To me, this character feels like he is part of the underworld, but like a half underworld being, and he's more of a spirit guide for Guts as he delves into being half in the world, half out of the world. During the chapter of Escape, the Skull Knight brings Casca and Guts to Rickard, who is the little boy who was introduced in the first chapter, and it would be this little boy who would eventually nurse them back to health. And there is this period of convalescence for about 4 days where Guts is completely bandaged up. You can see he's fully lost his arm, he's lost his eye, and there's this really sad moment where Casca is in this state of like debilitating shock. She can't even recognize where she is. Any sight of a man is horrible for her because she just went through such a graphic assault at the hands of Griffith, somebody who she thought she loved. That was a hard scene to read, but I don't think that that's the worst scene, right? I don't think that that is the worst scene. So upsetting though to see Casca just a shell of her former self. And again, the illustrations I think convey that so well. Just this like, you can imagine her stumbling. Her eyes aren't able to fully adjust on anything that feels real anymore. It feels like she's completely surrendered to just being a body without any sort of attachment to reality. And I think that that is really well executed in Miura's drawing of that scene. Always sad to see things happen to women in these stories, and it feels like it's more apparent than not that sometimes those are the victims of some of the worst things. So there's the sprint and vow of retaliation that I think are a really interesting chapter, because after Guts sees the condition of Casca, he basically runs out, completely stripping himself of his bandages, and he's having this moment where he's recalling the beauty and the unity of the Band of the Hawk. He's recalling all of these people who have passed, all these people that were murdered, all these people that he quite literally saw them dead. And it's in this moment that the Skull Knight comes in. And to me, this feels like in movies, where there's the montage of training. That's what this feels like. And to bring it back to what I was saying about the Skull Knight and how he's going to help Guts adapt into being part of the living world and then the dead world. He gives him his knife. This sword, I should say. He gives him this sword, and through this sword, he's kind of training him that he's able to see all of these ghosts and these demons, but not everybody else is going to be able to see it. I still don't think that the worst scene has happened, right? I mean, there's some pretty graphic scenes. There's going to be some live reaction cams, but I don't think that the worst scene has happened. At least this doesn't feel like the worst of it yet to me. So we'll keep on trucking. We'll keep on trucking. The next section that we're getting into, Demon Infant, Armament, He Who Hunts Dragons, Conviction Arc, Lost Children chapter. Oh, maybe that's the bad one. Lots of people say Lost Children. The Black Swordsman once more, The Elves of Misty Valley, Jill by Air, Elf Bugs, and Berserk, the prototype. So that is what we're getting into next, ladies and gentlemen. Let's rock it. Oh, hello, you stunningly gorgeous creatures. You little creatures. We're checking back in for the follow-up chapters that I listed earlier. I'm going to be doing just like a general mashup. I can't decide if I like breaking it down via chapters or if I just like doing a general consensus. I think I like the general consensus because I think it flows a little bit more naturally out of me. It's just much more of a knee-jerk reaction to what I'm experiencing, but I still have my bullet points and I know how I want to talk about it. The next grouping of chapters, obviously we have Casca and Guts. They're in this process of convalescing. Guts is kind of understanding what his life is going to be like now that he has this brand on him. And furthermore, understanding what Casca's life is going to be like with this brand on her, because it's not just him who is suffering with this half alive world, half dead world. He also is worried about Casca and how she is going to navigate the world after that. So you enter into this next part with this demon baby crawling on the ground and these townspeople not really knowing what this is. And this is your first understanding that these demons and all of these underworldlings are actively coming to find Guts. They are beckoned by the brand. There is a degree of safety, right? If they stay in that ore cave, which is where Rickett took them, they would be able to be safe. Casca would be able to be safe. But of course, Guts has to go out and save everything. Casca is quite literally locked in a cage down there because if she ends up going above ground, they're going to be able to take advantage of her, unfortunately, yet again. And it's during all of this time that you're starting to see just how removed from like normalcy that Guts is. It feels like his entire identity now is just getting revenge. He's lost his arm. He is currently with Rickert, and through Rickert, he is able to get this artificial hand. Let's just call it that much. And it's just kids who have made him have this cannon on his arm. And it's unbelievable because when the cannon is first revealed, it's after this demon baby has crawled in and the kids are like, use your arm, and he just blasts him away, just turbo blasts away this demon. And it's pretty great, honestly. It's pretty iconic, and it's such a great way to show that he's transformed and he's just adapted to it completely. I also realize now that I made a little bit of a mistake in one of the original videos that I made, thinking that he had already gotten his massive iron slab of a sword, but it's during these chapters that it is fully introduced and you do see how it comes about. It's kind of in conjunction with the cannon hand. It's this massive sword that was made for dragon slayers, but of course they say, oh, dragons are a myth, those aren't real things. But there's the iconic line that Guts says, oh, here we go. Dragons are dragons because humans can't beat them. So what's a man who beats dragons? Come on. Come on. Yes. And I think that is where you realize the fundamental shift of Guts, that he realizes that he's not even a human anymore. He's just slugging through life, trying to find morsels of what he had formerly known, building up from this childhood of absolute destruction and confusion, and trying to make some sort of foundation again. He thought he had a foundation in the Band of the Hawk, and there's quite literally moments in this where he's saying the Band of the Hawk is no more, and he's really just struggling through, dare I say it. And the rest of these chapters are Guts leaving, and there's a little bit of a flashback, and then a pivot forward about 2 years showing him on his journey. He ends up taking care of this girl named Jill, who I think is going to eventually become kind of a bigger character. Puck is reintroduced. You know I love it. You know, I was taking pictures of Puck throughout this entire thing, just documenting how excited I am to see that little munchkin all over again. The bug elves, which I love. I'm calling the ants that are currently in my apartment the bug elves. You know, that feels right. They are attacking my apartment. It's spring and they're out to play. And I will use my iron fist to get him out of my house, similar to Guts' iron sword. But there's a great chapter. I think that Bug Elves chapter is actually probably my favorite chapter that I've read in this so far. It's not as dark as the rest of them, but it does really show the lengths that Guts is willing to go. Just, he'll kind of take any battle, it feels like. This is much more of protecting a town against these Bug Elves that are capturing children in the night. And it's giving all of these, like, Puck elves a bad name because they've taken the disguise of regular elves when they are much more malicious, and they're controlled by this bug lady who we have seen before in this. I do want to talk about the Berserk prototype because that is wild to me. They just put that in there as a bonus round, and that was so crazy. I think that Guts looks mean. He looks mean. He doesn't look like he could be as cherished and loved as he has become in the series. He looks much more handsome in the series that was actually published. In this prototype, he just does not look attractive. He looks really menacing to me. And he seems a lot more evil and conniving in the way that he conducts himself. So I'm happy that Miura went into the direction that he went into during like the actual publication. So we got a tiny bit left, guys. We got a tiny bit left. And I think that the scenes with Casca are obviously the most challenging. I have a live reaction during her birthing scene, which I didn't really touch upon, but I think that's showing how much of an impact Griffith has had on her. Not only has he branded her, not only has he made the choice to sacrifice her, but now he has quite literally made her give birth to his child that is also a demon that will follow them. What a guy. I turned the camera on because I don't like what I'm seeing coming up. It's involving Casca again. Oh, I don't like that. Yeah, I'm having essentially the same exact reaction as Guts, which is a frightened eyeball. Put your hands together. She's been conquered. She's been conquered. She's been completed. She's been annihilated. She has been seen. She has been heard. And she has been fulfilled. Okay? I finished it. And I have some thoughts, okay? I have some thoughts that might differ from what you think I'm gonna say. We wrapped up the last chapters, and I will put them on the screen because I realized I didn't say them. And now that I'm right here, right now, I also realize that I don't have them in front of me, and it might not flow so seamlessly if I have to flip through and try to find them. So I'm just gonna put them on screen for you. Those are primarily focusing on the Lost Children arc, from my understanding. Now, I've been really keen to get into the Lost Children arc for a while now because so many people in the comments have been saying, You got to read all the way to the Lost Children arc. That's the one to read. I'm going to go out on a limb and say something wild, something really drastic, and make some claims here. I think that the Lost Children arc is going to be my favorite. I really like that. I think that's some of the best storytelling that I'm finding, particular to me. I think that there's amazing storytelling throughout all of this. I'm not going to say that there's not, but the type of storytelling that I'm really interested in, I'm really into the Lost Children arc. So where did we leave off? Let's talk about it. Essentially what has happened is Guts has gone out on his own. We had that flash forward 2 years where Jill was introduced, right? We touched upon Jill in the last section. And now Guts is entering into this town. Children are being abducted. All of these little elves are being accused of being the people who are responsible for doing it. And of course, Puck's not doing that. Come on now. It's also showing this slight loyalty that Guts unintentionally has to Puck. As much as he hates having Puck around him, he doesn't hate having Puck around him. He just kind of wants to flick him off. But Puck is always there and really cares about Guts in a way that I don't think Guts can even comprehend, because he's nervous to have any sort of attachment to anybody. It feels like anything that he touches falls apart. Puck is being accused of being one of the elves that are coming and attacking these children. You come to find out that there is this leader, bug elf leader, Rosine, who we come to find out was a friend of Jill's from childhood. Rosine came across a Behelit during one of her river scavenger hunts. And you really start to see the way that the Behelit can really carve out and attract somebody who is looking for something, somebody who has a dream. A lot of this last chapter really focused on childhood, the decisions that you can make when something has happened to you as a child. You see very much mirroring Guts' life, right? The atrocities that happened to Guts as a child and the decisions that he made, the path that he chose to take from this destruction in his life. And you start to really see that storyline carved out in Jill and Rosine together. Rosine, she had this really troubled childhood. She decided to get out. She found the Behelit, and she quite literally sacrificed her parents to get the power, this powerful dream, this ambition that she had. And you can see her kind of slowly bringing Jill into that. You see the atrocities of Jill's childhood, the way that she's treated by her father. Her mother is basically just kind of stumbling through life, and Jill is given the option to join the Misty Valley elves, and she almost caves to it, and she doesn't exactly. The idea of flying over life isn't exactly the most appetizing thing for her. I really, really enjoyed this chapter. I think that this is a standout for me. I think it's really funny in a lot of places. Puck is hilarious to me. I love everything that Puck stands for and does on the page. I love it. I think it's so funny, and I giggle all the time. Miura, you were dropping little funnies, okay? You were dropping little funnies in Puck. But I think ultimately this is really showing how unfair things are from childhood into adulthood. You're seeing how Rosine made a decision based on the way that she was treated. And it's not similar to Griffith's ambition, right? This is much more of a choice based on circumstance, whereas I think Griffith is very much always adamant about who he wanted to become. I think Rosine always had that maybe in her, but circumstance forced her to make that decision. I mean, she didn't have to sacrifice her parents, right? But I think just the overwhelming abundance of promise that the Behelit gave, which was what ultimately persuaded her. And I guess if we're going to talk about the horrific thing that happened, which I am assuming now was what happened to Casca, that was horrible. That was totally horrible, and it's very uncomfortable to read that. But I think I've read so many books with something similar to that happening that it really doesn't, it affects me definitely. I mean, that's a horrific thing to see illustrated in front of you. It's really appalling. And I do think that it's necessary, I guess, for the storyline to continue. I think just the most troubling part about that is that you did have the character of Casca, such a strong character, and to just see how disrupted she can be from something that is so out of her hands is probably the most troubling part of it. To just see how quickly that can be ripped away is probably the saddest part of all of that. So yeah, I have read some really disturbing things in my life. So this doesn't really feel like the most disturbing thing I've ever read. I'd be interested if there is still something else disturbing coming. I'm going to continue reading this, so rest assured, I'm going to continue. Don't worry, I have all the volumes, so we will still be trucking on. But I'm really optimistic about the storyline of the Lost Children because I think that that is so cool. I like how that's been introduced. Lost Children doesn't really make sense, but then when you realize that all of these little elves, these little malicious elves are children, and when Guts attacks them, and once they all die, they show up as children again, and it's really adding flame to the townspeople's hatred of him. It's like he can't win, and it just keeps compounding this horrible outside factors that are happening to Guts, and I really like where this is going so far. So I think we should all just take a little breathing moment again on Headspace, okay? Yeah, I don't know about you, but I needed that. Yeah, guys, let me know. What is your favorite arc that you have read? I can pretty solidly say that The Lost Children feels like it's going to be my favorite one that I've read so far. That feels like a good, I can determine that that is how I feel. Let me know. And let me know if I did really hit the super disturbing part. That was upsetting. But like I said, I've read a lot of things that feel pretty similar to that, unfortunately. So let me know. Let me know. Thank you so much again to Headspace for sponsoring today's video. If you would like to check out Headspace and get 60 days for free, you can click the link in my bio or scan the QR code on the screen. You might need it, okay, after reading Berserk. Anyway, you guys are wonderful. You're fabulous. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you